So in the last lecture, we have solved a problem on structural analysis, that is bar under axial load, but with the thermal effect. So in today's lecture, we will be taking the problem on again the structural field. Okay, we'll be taking the problem on structural field. Okay, where we have bar under torsional load. Okay, bar under torsional load. Okay, so in the today's session we'll be solving the problem in the structural field where we have a bar under torsional load. Okay, so let's consider this problem. Okay, let's consider this problem. Okay, so this is a fixed support which is given. This is the fixed support. Okay, to this particular fixed support, what they have done, they have attached one bar. So this is a bar which is attached to the fixed support. Okay, this bar, it is having a diameter. Okay, phi is equal to 100. The bar, it is having a diameter. Okay, phi is equal to 100. Okay, so I will mention these are the diameter. Phi is equal to 100. Okay, this bar, it is having a length. This bar, it is having a length of 450 mm. The bar, it is having a length of 450 mm. Okay, so to this particular bar, what they have one more bar which is attached. Okay, so this is the bar which is attached. Okay, so this is the bar which they have attached to that particular bar. Okay, this bar, it is having a diameter of phi is equal to 80. This is having a diameter phi is equal to 80, and it is having a length. It is having a length of 400 mm. Of 400 mm. Okay, 400 mm. Right. Now to this particular bar. Okay, to this particular bar, what they have done, they have attached one more bar. Okay, so this is one more bar which is attached. Okay, so this is one more bar which they have attached. Okay, and further that bar, it is connected to fixed support. That bar, it is connected to fixed support. Okay, so if you talk about this bar, it is having a diameter. It is having a diameter of phi is equal to 50. This is having a diameter of phi is equal to 50, and which is having the length, which is having a length of 500 mm. Of 500 mm, which is having a length of 500 mm. Okay, which is having a length of 500. Right? So this is basically the diagram which is given. Okay, now what the thing they are doing is, okay, they're applying one torque. Okay, they're applying the torque. Okay, here. Okay, which measures 3 kilonewton meter. Okay, this is the torque which they applied, which is measuring 3 kilonewton meter. Okay, and here they applied again a torque which is measuring 2 kilonewton meter. Okay, so this is basically the magnitude: 3 kilonewton meter, 2 kilonewton meter. You can see one, it is in anti-clockwise, other it is in clockwise direction. Okay, now this entire structure, okay, is made up of a material with value of G as 100 gigapascal, So they're asking to take G as 100 gigapascal, and they're asking to analyze it completely. Okay, so problem is analyze completely. So if this is the thing which is written, analyze completely, okay, its meaning is, okay, finally we need to end with the calculation of stress. Okay, analyze completely, it's straightforward meaning, calculate the stress. Okay, that is the final outcome, right? So now see now we are supposed to proceed with the solution. Now we are supposed to proceed with the solution now, right? Now see, in order to start with this solution, in order to start with the solution, okay, in order to start with the solution, so very first step, okay, so very first step is the discretization. Okay, so very basic step is the discretization. So discretization, it is nothing but dividing the entire domain into number of subdomains based on certain criterias. Okay, so first criteria is change in cross section. Change in cross section. So you can see here, diameter is 100 here, diameter is 80 here, here diameter is 50 here. That means you have different cross section for these bars. Each of the bar, it is having different cross section because they are having different diameter. Okay, so what I will do is, for this particular, okay, this particular bar I will be calling as one element. Okay, this particular bar I will be calling as one element. Then this particular bar I'll be calling as one more element. Okay, and then this particular bar I will call it as one more element, right? So these are the three elements which I got. Okay, so this is basically element number 1. Okay, then if you go here, this is element number 2. Okay, and if you just see here, okay, this is basically the element number 3. Okay, element number 1, element number 2, okay, and element number 3. Okay, element number 1, 2 and 3. Okay, so these are the element number 1. See, element number 1, element number 2, element number 3. See, this is your node 1, right? This is node 1. Okay, this is your node 1. Then this becomes your node 2, right? Straight, or you need to number in the manner. So this is your node 2, this is your node 3, and this is your node 4. See, node 1, node 2, node 3, node 4. So this is how we have numbered the node. Okay, now we have numbered the node. Initially we formed the elements, now we have numbered the node. Okay, now we need to start finding the element stiffness matrices. We need to start finding the element stiffness matrices. Okay, so see, element stiffness matrices for bar under torsional load. Okay, it is different. Okay, so see, for every field, the element stiffness matrices will not be same, because when we have bar under axial load, okay, so the formula will be different. When we have bar under torsional load, obviously the formula will be different. Okay, so in the very first lecture only, I have told you about the EMEs, element matrix equation, for all the fields. Okay, so I will write down here. So element matrix equation, I will write down EME, element matrix equation for bar under torsional load. Element matrix equation for bar under torsional load is given by okay, so we need to write down element matrix equation. Okay, so it is basically Gj by L. Try to understand. Gj by L, okay, into 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, okay, into see, this is element matrix equation. Gj by L, 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, into, now instead of linear displacements, we have angular displacements. So I will indicate by theta 1 and theta 2, okay, is given by torque, that is T1 and T2. Okay, when we have linear displacement, here it is U1 U2, so here it is F1 F2. Okay, linear displacement, linear forces. Now we have angular displacement, so these are the torques. Okay, so if you just see this term, okay, it is called as element stiffness matrices. Okay, if you just see this term, it is called as element stiffness matrices, right? If you see this term, okay, it is nothing but your angular displacement theta is given by torque, is given by T, right? So we are interested to calculate the value of K. We are interested to calculate the value of K for every element. Okay, for every element we are supposed to calculate it, right? So let's start with the calculation for element number 1. Okay, so see, if you just see this one, K required G, J, L. G, okay, it's a modulus of rigidity, or it is also known as bulk modulus, which is given in the problem. G is given in the problem, right? Now we need to calculate J, because J is not given in the problem. It's basically the polar moment of inertia, right? That we are supposed to calculate J. And L, it is nothing but the length of every element. So a length is given. Okay, so G is given, length of every element is given, but J is not given. J is not given. So basically we need to first calculate that. J, we are supposed to calculate that, right? So for calculation of J, okay, for calculation of J, okay, how you will calculate when it is of circular cross section? What is the formula for J? Basic formula for J. Okay, what is the formula for J if it is of circular cross section? Okay, it is pi by 32 d raised to power 4, right? Formula is pi by 32 d raised to power 4. Okay, pi by 32 d raised to power 4. So by using this formula, okay, we just put the value of diameter as first diameter, okay, that is 100, you will get J1. When you put it as 80, you will get J2. Okay, so just do do these calculations. Now see, now we are starting with the calculation. Okay, so if you are starting with the calculation, okay, you just try to check with the units, Now see, G, let's start with the unit G. See, if G, it is given in gigapascal, G is given in gigapascal, try to understand. G is given in gigapascal. Now J, for calculating J, we require diameter. See, for calculating J, we require diameter. And diameter, it is in mm. Diameter, it is in mm. So we will get J in mm raised to power 4. J, we will get it in mm raised to power 4. Okay. And length, we have it in mm. Length, we have it in mm, right? See, length is in mm, right? Now next thing is theta 1, theta 2, that we are supposed to calculate. T1, T2. Okay, so torque, we will talk about the torque. So torque, it is given in kilonewton meter. Try to understand. So this is given in kilonewton meter. Okay, so the torque, it is given in kilonewton. Here you are supposed to, okay, here you are supposed to apply some logic. Okay, so this kilonewton meter, this has to be converted into kilonewton mm. Okay, so this is the conversion only which is required. We are supposed to convert this meter into mm. Okay, we need to convert this meter into mm. Simply just multiplied by 1000. So this is how we'll convert kilonewton meter into kilonewton mm. So this becomes 3000 kilonewton mm. This is 2000 kilonewton mm, right? So this is the only thing which we are supposed to do. Now let's start with J. It is pi by 32 d raised to power 4. Okay, so let's calculate for first element. Okay, so J1, I will write down J1. It is given by pi by 32 diameter, first diameter. Okay, first diameter is 100 raised to power 4. So just do this calculation, J1. Similarly, we need to calculate J2. It is given by, again, pi by 32 into D. Diameter is 80. So raised to power 4. So this is how you calculate. Next, J3. Okay, pi by 32 into its diameter is 50. So 50 raised to power 4. Okay, so just do the calculation and let me know the values which we are getting. Okay, just do that. Do that. Let me know. Let me know the values which you are getting. For first one, what value we are getting? J1, what value you are getting?
9.81 into 10 raised to 6.
Into 10 raised to
6.
9.81 into 10 raised to power 6. You can tell 9.81 into 10 raised to power
6.
6. Okay, mm raised to power 4. Next, for second one, do it. Second one.
Sir,
Second
6.13.
one, 4 point
4.02
into 10 raised to power
6.
how much? 4.0
6.
10 raised to power 6. Okay. And for third one,
6.13 into 10 raised to minus 10 raised to
6 point. Check it.
6.13.
6.13 into 10 raised to power 5.
Into 10 raised to power 5. 6 point. 6 point. Can you repeat?
13.
13 into 10 raised to power 5 meter mm raised to power 4, right? So these are the values J1, J2, J3 we got, right? Now we need to calculate next thing. Okay, and what is that thing? We need to calculate now element stiffness matrices. So let's start with the calculation of element stiffness matrices for element number 1. Okay, stiffness matrix of element number 1. How we'll do that? Okay, for that we required G. G, it is common for entire problem, and that is 100. So G is 100 into J. J of element number 1, it is 9.81 into 10 raised to power 6. Okay, by length of first element, that is 450. Okay, into 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, right? So just do this calculation. See, G, it is same for entire problem. This is J. What is here? Upon length of element, it is 450. So just let me know what value we get. How much we are getting?
2.18 into 10 raised to
2.
2.18 into
10 raised to power 6.
okay. So what I will do, I will just take 10 raised to power 6 outside and 2.18 I will multiply inside. So 2.18 minus 2.18 minus 2.18 and plus 2.18, right? 10 raised to power 6 I have taken outside, and this is how I will do. Okay, so this is, see, if you talk about element number 1, it is between node 1 and 2. So write down 1, 2 and 1, right? Now next you go for the calculation of element stiffness matrices of element number 2. Element stiffness matrices for element number 2. Okay, so how will do that? G it is same for entire problem, that is 100 into J of element number 2, it is 4.02 into 10 raised to power 6 upon length of element number 2, that is 400 into 1 minus 1 minus 1 1. Okay, so just check how much we get. Just check that value, how much we get.
1.0 into 10 raised to power 6.
1.08. Is that okay? Can you repeat that value?
1.0 into 10 raised to power 6.
1.0 into 10 raised to power 6. 1.0. So I will write down directly as 1. Na? So this is 1 minus 1 minus 1 1, right? So see, if you talk about element number 2, it is between node 2 and 3. Okay, so I will write down this 2 3 and 2 3. Okay, now let's do that. Let's do this. for element number 3 now. Okay, so let's do this now for element number 3. Okay, so I will write down now stiffness matrix of element number 3. Stiffness matrix of element number 3 is given by G. G we know it is same for entire problem, that is 100 into J. This is a value, right? 6.13 into 10 raised to power 5, right? G, J. See, this is G, this is J. Upon length of element number 3. Okay, length of element number 3. It's a 500, right? Its value is 500. 500 into 1 minus 1 minus 1, 1, right? Now you just do this calculation and let me know what answer we are getting. Just do this calculation and let me know.
Yes. 1.22 into 10 raised to power 5.
1.22,
22 into 10 raised
1.2 power 5. So can I write down like that? 10 raised to power 6, I will take it common. Okay, and 0.12, right? 0.12, then minus 0.12, then this is again minus 0.12 and 0.1. See, 1.2 into 10 raised to power 5, that means 0.12 into 10 raised to power 6. So 10 raised to power 6 I have taken outside, and that 0.12 I will make it multiplied inside. Okay, so this is what we will get. Is that okay? All of you, is that okay?
Yes, sir.
Because see, you can see 10 raised to power 6, 10 raised to power 6, it is common for both, see for K1 and K2. That is the reason why also I am taking 10 raised to power 6 common, right? Now, if you talk about this element number 3, it is between 3 and 4. So I'll write down here 3, 4. Okay, and also 3, 4 here, right? 3, 4, 3, 4. Is that okay? Is that okay now?
Yes.
Now see, now what we will do, we have element stiffness matrices. Now we need to calculate global stiffness matrices. This is very important now. Global stiffness matrices. Okay, so for that we need to determine what is the size of global stiffness matrices. We need to determine what is the size of global stiffness matrix, and size of the global stiffness matrix will be determined by number of nodes, okay, multiplied by degrees of freedom. Degrees of freedom per node multiplied by degrees of freedom per node. So it's simple meaning. How many nodes you have, and every node can move in how many directions. Okay, so these two terms you need to multiply. So see, when we'll come back to the diagram, we have total 4 nodes, right? 4 nodes. We have 4 nodes. Okay, and 4 node, that nodes can, each node can move only in one direction. Each node can move in only in one direction. That means only the see, angular rotation it is possible. Okay, that is only angular displacement is possible. Okay, see, you are applying the torque. You are applying the torque. That means what? Okay, you will get only angular displacement. It might be in a clockwise or it might be in a anti-clockwise. So clockwise or anti-clockwise, it is having only the meaning of whether it is plus or whether it is minus. Okay, so whether it is clockwise or whether it is anti-clockwise, okay, this is nothing but angular displacement, right? So this is 4 into 1. So we will get E is equal to 4. 4 into 1 is 4. So our size of the global stiffness matrix will be 4 by 4. The size of the global stiffness matrix will be 4 by 4. Okay, so let's form now global stiffness matrices. Okay, so I will write down the global stiffness matrices. Okay, so for global stiffness matrices, I should have 4 rows and 4 columns. Okay, so here I'll just make. Yeah, so this is first column, second column, third column, and this is fourth column. Okay, so here also I'll make 1, 2, 3, and 4. Okay, 1, 2, 3, 4, right? So now what I will do, I'll just mark these rows and columns. So it is easy for us to pick the element and place within a global stiffness matrices. Okay, so I just mark the rows and columns. Okay, now what I will do, I will just pick every element and I will put that, okay, within a global stiffness matrix. Okay, so let me do that. So stiffness matrix of element number 1, okay, this is basically 1 2 1 2. I will start with only a single term. See, if you can see in any element stiffness matrices, 10 raised to power 6 is common, so that I will take outside. 10 raised to power 6 is common, so that I will take outside. Okay, now I will start with these matrices. It is starting with 1 1. So at 1 1, I should put 2.18. So at 1 1, I should put 2.18. Just side of that, it is minus 2.18. Here it is minus 2.18, and here it is 2.18. Right? Because 10 raised to power 6, it has been already taken common. Right? Now go for a second one. This is 2 3 2 3. Right? So starting point is 2 2. So at 2 2, you put 1. So this is 2. This is 2. You put 1. Okay, see here. At 2 2, you put 1. See, this is what written. 2 2, I have put 1. The side of that, it is minus 1. Here it is minus 1. Here it is 1. Right? Here it is 1. Now just go here. At 3 3, you put 0.12. Okay. So I will go at this location. This is 3. This is 3. So at 3 3, I will put 0.12. Okay. Here minus 0.12. Here minus 0.12, and here 0.12. 0.1. Right? Now what you can do, the rest of the element, where you are not getting any terms, there you put the value as 0. There you can put the value as 0. So there I have put the values as 0 value. Right? Now this is our global stiffness matrices. Once we have a global stiffness matrices, we need to write down global matrix equation, right? So we will start now with global matrix equation. So GME, that is global matrix equation, okay, is given by okay, our global stiffness matrix. When you multiply it by displacement, that is theta, will give rise to torque. Okay, will give rise to torque. Okay, now what we will do is, now we will take this 10 raised to power 6 as it is. Okay, 10 raised to power 6. Okay, next these values I will write down: 2.18 minus 2.18, 0 0, right? Then minus 2.18. Now this 2.18 plus 1, that is 3.18. This is 3.18. Then this is minus 1, and this is 0. Then here it is 0. We have minus 1. Then this 1 plus 0.12. So it is 1.12. Okay. And here it is minus 0.12. Right. Then here it is 0. Here it is again 0. So this is minus 0.12. And this is 0.12. Right. So this is what our global stiffness matrices is. Right. Now this is to be multiplied by displacements, right? This is to be multiplied by displacements. Okay. So those displacements are, which are those displacements? Those displacements are theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, and theta 4, right? So these are the displacements. So these are the displacements, right? Theta 1, theta 2, theta 3, theta 4. So is equal to, we have the forces, right? We have the forces, and which are those forces? Okay, or forces, those forces are nothing but they are the torques, right? So these forces are, okay, T1, T2, T3, and T4, right? So these are the torques. Okay, now we need to solve this equation. Now we are supposed to solve this equation, and for solving this equation, we need to come back to the diagram. Okay, just see the diagram and just let me know how to solve this equation. Just see this diagram and just let me know how to solve this equation. Just see the diagram and just let me know how to solve this equation. Is there anything that we are not entered? Yet not entered?
Sir, element 1 and 4 are fixed now.
Yeah, not element number 1 and 4. They are node 1 and node 4 are fixed. See, node 1 and node 4 are fixed. Right. Exactly. So see what happens when any node is fixed. That means what? At that point, displacement is 0. You can check here. Okay, so I'll just mark that. So displacement at that particular node is 0. So what happens is theta 1 gets 0, theta 1 gets 0. Okay, similarly, theta 4 gets 0, theta 4 gets 0. Because what happens is node 1 and node 4 are fixed. Node 1, you can see in the diagram, node 1 and node 4, they are fixed. So displacement at those nodes will be 0. So what happens when that displacement gets 0, then that row and that column gets cancelled. Okay, so I'll just roughly, okay, just cancel that. This is the first row. I will cancel with the first column. Similarly, I will cancel fourth row, and this is fourth column. This is fourth column, right? Okay. This is fourth column, right? So now we have the two equations with two unknowns, and those unknowns are theta 2 and theta 3. Okay, the unknowns are theta 2 and theta 3. Okay, provided we should put the value of T2 and T3. So we have two equations with two unknowns, and those unknowns are theta 2 and theta 3. Now we are interested to calculate the value of, or we need to put the value of T2 and T3. Okay, T2. Okay, that means torque applied at node 2. Okay, so this value we are supposed to enter T2. Value of T2. Okay, just come back to the diagram. T2. So see, this is a torque which is applied at node 2. So this is 3 kilonewton meter. As I told you, this is to be converted into kilonewton mm. So just multiplied by 1000. So this becomes 3 kilonewton mm multiplied by 1000. So this becomes 3000 kilonewton mm. But you can see this is in anti-clockwise direction. This is in anti-clockwise direction. So I will take this as a plus. Okay, so that is, I will write down here. So this is plus 3000 kilonewton mm. 3000 kilonewton mm. That is applied at node 2. At node 2. Now, if you go to node 3, can you tell me how much it is? At node 3, how much it is? How much torque is applied at node 3? Can you tell me? At node 3, how much it is? See, this is plus 3000. So this is how much? At node 3? Huh? See, this is going in clockwise. This is going in clockwise. So this is to be taken as minus. So this is minus 2000 kilonewton mm. Minus 2000 kilonewton mm. Okay. So now all of you just solve this in a calculator. Okay, and just get the answer. Just let me know what is the value of theta 2 and theta 3. Let me know what is the value of theta 2 and theta 3. Solve this in a calculator and immediately let me know what is the value of theta 2. Similarly, what is the value of theta 3? Just solve this in a calculator. Can you do that? Can you do that? Let me know. All of you, can you solve it, or shall I explain that? Okay. Basically, what you do, you just go to your calculator. Okay. Then go to mode. Okay. Go to solve system equations, two unknowns. A, you put it as, say, this is 10 raised to power 6. That you need to multiply to every term. 3.18 into 10 raised to power 6, right? Then minus 1 into 10 raised to power 6. Okay. And the C, that is torque, it is 3000, right? Next here, again, minus 1 into 10 raised to power 6. And here, 1.12 into 10 raised to power 6. Okay, and here minus 2000, right? So if you calculate it, let's do the calculation. So when I click, okay, I'm getting this value. You can check this value.
सर
0.00
ये कैसा है सर, नहीं समझा मुझे।
0.053 radian. Similarly, this is theta 2 and theta 3 it is coming minus 0.0013 radian. 13 radian. So this is the value which I'm getting. Right now, I'll just come back. Now I just got the values of theta 2 and theta 3. Now I need to check whether the values are correct or not. Okay. So for that, what I will do, I will calculate the reaction. Reactions are the displacement. The reactions are the point where displacements are 0. So theta 1 is 0, you will get T1. Similarly, theta 4 is 0, you will get T4. See, if this is the input, okay, or these are the forces which are applied, obviously this and this is the reaction. So how will get T1? It is the first row multiplied by this column. Okay, so let's do that. So I will do that. See, first row and this column. So I'll just take 10 raised to power 6. What I will do, I'll just take 10 raised to power 6 outside. 10 raised to power 6 is outside. Now just go back. 10 raised to power 6 is outside. Now this into this, right? First row and this column. So this into this is 0, right? Minus 2.18 into theta 2. So minus 2.18 theta 2. Okay. See, minus 2.18 into theta 2. Now see, this 0 into theta 3 is again 0. 0 into theta 4 is again 0. Is equal to T1. Is equal to T1. Okay, so let's put that value and just get the value of T1. What we are getting? So 10 raised to power 6 minus 2.18 into theta 2. So 0.00053. That is theta 2 is equal to T1. Is equal to T1. So just do this calculation and just see how much we are getting. Just let me know the value of this T1. Okay, just simply just do the calculation. Okay, I'll go to mode again. So I need to clear this. Maths. Okay. So let's do that. So shift 10 raised to power 6 is outside. Inside a bracket, what we have is minus 2.18 into 0.00053. Okay, so just check this value. How much we are getting? T1 we are getting. So value of T1 we are getting as minus 1155.4. Okay, minus 1155.4. This is the value which we are getting, and its unit. Okay, what will be about the unit? It will be obviously same as this T2 or T3. This is kilonewton mm. Kilonewton mm, right? Now let's do for T4. How will you get T4? Last row and this column, right? So what I will do, I will just take 10 raised to power 6, which is already there. I will take it out. So last row and this column, right? So this 0 into this is 0. 0 into this theta 2 is again 0. Then what is remaining? Minus 0.12 into theta 3. So I'll write down minus 0.12 into theta 3. Next, 0.12 into theta 4 is 0 again. So is equal to T4. Is equal to T4. So let's put that value. So 10 raised to power 6 minus 0.12 into theta 3 is minus 0.0013. Okay, so is equal to T4. Is equal to T4, right? So here you calculate the value of T4. Here you calculate the value of T4. So just do that again simply. Okay, so I'll do a shift 10 raised to power 6. This is to be multiply inside 0.12. Okay, both are minus, so I will take both as plus, because minus into minus is plus only. So into 0.0013. 0.0013. Okay, so just check it. How much? 156 square. 156 kilonewton mm. Okay, 156 kilonewton mm. Right? So see, this is the value of torque, or this is a reaction which is generated at node 1, and this is a reaction which is generated at node 4. Now we need to check, okay, whether the summation of torques, it is tending to 0 or not. So that is nothing but a condition of equilibrium. So just check the summation of torque. Okay, that is basically the addition of T1 plus T2 plus T3 and plus T4. Okay, so let's do this calculation. T1 we have calculated minus 1155.4 plus T2, it's a 3000 plus T3, it's a minus 2000 plus T4, it's 156. So just calculate it and just see how much we're getting summation of torque. All of you just check. Okay, minus 1155.4 plus 3000 plus minus 2000 plus 156, right? So see, you're getting the value as 0.6. Okay, so see, this is the 0.6, all of you. Okay, so it should be 0. We are getting this as a 0.6. See, summation of torque should be equal to 0. We are getting that value at 0.6. Still, it is. I will say that our answers are correct. The reason behind that is within 3000 you are getting the error of 0.6, and that is allowed. Is that okay? Is that okay or not? Within 3000, okay, you're getting the error of 0.6. So as I told you in the last lecture, see, why this error of 0.6 occur? It is a reason. See, your error is going to starting from this step only. See, here you take more digits after the decimal point in the calculation of J1, your stiffness matrix will be more and more accurate. As your stiffness matrix is more and more accurate, your global stiffness matrix is more and more accurate. Okay, then your theta 2 is more and more accurate. Again, in theta 2, if you take more digits after the decimal point, your reactions will be more accurate. And in that case, torque will be tending to, summation of torque will tend to 0. Is that okay, all of you? Is that okay? All of you, is that okay or not? Okay, so see, the point where you've done the first calculation, from that point only the error will start, right? Then how to reduce that error? You take more digits after the decimal point. Okay, now see, instead of calculating the value of J1 separately, if you directly put the value here only, if you just put the formula 100 into J, what is J? Pi by 32 d raised to power 4. Here only you put that entire this term, your K1 becomes more accurate, your K2 becomes more accurate, your K3 becomes more accurate, right? Is that okay or not? Okay, so minimum step you will do, maximum accuracy will be there. Is that okay? Is that okay or not? Let me know.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so see, if you start replicating the steps, same step again and again, what will happen? What will happen is, okay, there will be your answer will be less accurate, right? So now see, now we have calculated the reactions. See, displacement is done, the reactions are done. Now we need to go with the calculation of stress, right? So in the strength of material you're seeing, okay, if you have bar under torsional load, the stress which is induced, it is basically the shear stress, right? So I'll just write down that. I will just write down that equation. Okay. I will just write down some part of that equation. That is G theta. Okay. All of you just know this equation. That is G theta by L is equal to tau by R. Okay. This equation you have already practiced in the SOM. Right? G theta by L is equal to tau by R. Is that okay? So now see, I just required only this part of the equation. That is the reason why I use it. So I'm interested to get the value of tau. That is basically the stress. Tau is equal to, okay, I will write down this as G into R into theta by L. Try to understand. If I need to get tau, it should be G by R into theta by L. Right? Now, if you talk about R, okay, R, it is nothing but your diameter by 2. It's the half the diameter. Radius is the half the diameter. So that is what is written into theta by L into theta by L. Right? Now let's calculate this tau for element number 1. I will calculate this tau for element number 1. So tau for element number 1, it is given by you required G. Okay. So G it is common for entire problem. So I will not write down G1, G2, G3. So I'll write down just G into diameter. Okay. So we have first diameter of first section as D1. So I will write down D1 by 2 into theta. Okay. So if you just see the diagram, okay, if you just see the diagram, okay, if you just see the diagram, for element number 1, there will be 2 nodes. There will be 2 nodes. So there will be 2 values of theta. One is theta 1 and second is theta 2. Theta 1 and theta 2, they are nothing but the angular displacements. So node 1 will have angular displacement theta 1. Node 2 will have angular displacement theta 2. Okay, so I will write down that as theta 2 minus theta 1. See, theta 2 minus theta 1 upon length. So that is nothing but L1. That is nothing but L1, right? So let's put that value. So G, it is 100 into diameter of first. If you can just see, it is 100 again. So 100 into 100 by 2 into theta 2. Theta 2 just now we have calculated theta 2. Okay, that is 0.0053 minus theta 1 is 0 because it is fixed upon length of first element. It is given as 450. You can see here. Okay, length of the first element. This is 450. That is what is written. Right? And theta 1 is 0. Here only you can see. So that is the only value which I put. Okay, now just calculate the value of stress. Calculate the value of stress. Do that immediately.
(5.88 into 10⁻³
How much?
5.88 into 10⁻³
Minus 3. Can you tell me what is the unit?
kilonewton per mm. Kilonewton into mm.
Can you repeat?
No,
See, if you're confused with the unit, see what is the unit for diameter? It's mm. Diameter it is in mm. Length is in mm. So mm gets cancelled. What is about this theta? It's a radian, and radian we never write. Right. Now then unit for tau will be the unit for G. Will be the unit of G, and G it is in gigapascal. Right? Is that okay? Is that okay now? No need to remember as well, right? See, this is in mm, this is in mm, gets cancelled. Theta is in radian, that we never write. So unit for the tau will be same as G. That is what is written, gigapascal. Right. Now calculate unit shear stress for element number 2. Okay, so I'll write down this G, then its diameter is D2 by 2. See, diameter is D2 by 2. Now we need to write down. See, element number 2, if you see this element number 2, all of you, element number 2, it is between node 2 and 3. Okay, so this will have theta 2 displacement, this will have theta 3 displacement. Okay, so I will write down this as theta 3 minus theta 2 upon its length is L2. Length of element number 2 is L2, right? So G is 100 into diameter of second element. Diameter of second element, it's 80. Okay, 80 by 2 into theta 3. Theta 3 we have calculated here. That is minus 0.0013 minus theta 2 is 0.00053 upon L2. Upon L2. Length of element number 2, it's 400. 400, right? So just do this calculation and let me know the values. how much we are getting. Just do the calculation, all of you, and let me know what answer you are getting.
Minus 0.018.
Minus
Sir.
0.018.
0.018.
Okay, this is again in gigapascal. Now calculate stress in element number 3. Okay, G we have common value upon diameter of third element, it's D3 divided by 2 into element number 3. If you can see, it is between 3 and 4. So we need to write down here as theta 4 minus theta 3. Theta 4 minus theta 3 upon length of element number 3 is L3, right? So is given by theta 4. Okay, theta 4 it is 0. You can check it. Theta 4 is 0 minus theta 3 is minus of 0.0013 upon length of element number 3. You can see length of element number 3, it's 500. Okay. See, this is what? This is theta 4 minus theta 3 into L3 into G that I have not written. G, it's 100 into D3 by 2. D3, diameter of third, it's 50. Okay, into 50 by 2. See, I just written this term first. This is I written. Then G is 100 into diameter is 50 by 2. So just do the calculation and let me know how much we get.
.5 into 10 raised to minus 3.
How much?
6.5 into 10 raised to minus 3.
6.45.
Nice, sir. 6.5. 6.5 into 10 raised to minus
Into
3.
10 raised to minus 3.
Minus 3 gigapascal. Okay, is that okay now? All of you? Right? So this is how we have finished. Okay, so this was a problem, okay, which is given. Okay, we have initially discretized it. We have applied the EME. For EME, we required polar moment of inertia that we have calculated. Then we have calculated element stiffness matrices for every element. Then we got global stiffness matrices. Once we have global stiffness matrices, we impose a boundary condition. We have calculated the reactions. Once we have reaction, we calculated this condition of equilibrium. Okay, we check with the condition of equilibrium, and further we have calculated the value of stresses. So is that okay to all of you? Is that okay, everybody?
Yes.
Each of you, have you understood this one? Okay. Then today we are going to stop here, and in the next lecture, we will take the problems on basically the spring elements. In the next lecture, we will take the problems on spring elements.